In the heart of a sprawling metropolis where residents showcased their wealth through lavish cars, a woman, undeniably among the nation's richest, lived without one. She walked, shattering assumptions that wealth must be displayed, driven, or proclaimed, while others of her stature cruised in luxurious vehicles and convoys. Amanda, a multi-billionaire, never drove. Owning a global empire, numerous oil blocks, and over 100 properties, she was one of the wealthiest women in the country. Yet, Amanda shunned the spotlight wealth often attracts. Unassuming, she saw no divide between rich and poor. She roamed the streets daily in plain clothes that concealed her fortune, befriending market women, hawkers, and beggars who blessed her when she dropped money into their bowls. We admired her way of life. Not everyone found her choices sensible, though. Aware she could afford any car, but chose to walk, some labeled her stingy or foolish. Even her employees drove flashy cars, while she wandered the streets like an ordinary person. Whispers trailed her, some mocked, others feared her. Rumors swirled. Amanda was mad, had traded her soul for wealth, or couldn't ride in cars. Some claimed she was cursed, that disaster would strike if she ever entered a vehicle. Years ago, when she was kidnapped, tales spread that her abductors died mysteriously, and people credited Amanda, who returned home on foot the next day. The story grew legendary in the city. Witnesses said the kidnappers tried to force her into a van, but it wouldn't start. Eventually, they perished, leaving Amanda unharmed. After that, even the boldest criminals crossed the street to avoid her. Amanda neither confirmed nor denied these tales. She continued strolling Lagos's bustling streets, smiling, greeting people by name, and buying food from roadside vendors. She walked through rain and sun while others sneered or laughed. One morning, outside an auto repair shop where Amanda chatted with a roadside painter, a young reporter, Cynthia, approached. "Madam," she panted, "may I ask one question? Why don't you ever drive?" Amanda, ignoring her, smiled at the painter, promised to return, and walked away. Undeterred, Cynthia followed, insisting, "I'm not mocking you, I swear. I just want to understand." Amanda paused, eyeing the breathless reporter clutching a notepad, her press tag dangling. "You want to understand?" Amanda asked in a calm, steady voice. "Then leave me alone and stop following me." As Amanda crossed the street, Cynthia, eager to pursue, stepped into traffic. A motorcycle hit her, sending her notepad's pages flying like frantic birds. Her head cracked against the pavement. Horrified onlookers screamed as Cynthia was rushed to a hospital. Many blamed Amanda, who sustained minor injuries herself. "I told you she's cursed," they whispered, their fear deepening. Amanda remained unfazed. She covered Cynthia's medical bills and visited her daily until her release, ignoring those who held her responsible. Months later, Amanda left her mansion for her usual walk to the office. The sun blazed after an hour's trek. Spotting a frightened girl hesitant to cross the street, Amanda, mindful of Cynthia's accident, decided to help. Smiling, she gently took the child's hand, and they crossed together. Traffic halted at a red light, but as they reached the road's center, a white Mercedes screeched to a stop beside them, its driver slamming the brakes. The car narrowly avoided hitting them, and the young girl screamed and stood frozen in fear. Amanda drew her close to her in an effort to protect her, noticing how frightened she was. As onlookers gasped in disbelief, hands bled profusely. When the driver of the automobile threw open the door and marched toward them in anger, the street was entirely silent. "Are you mad?" she asked Amanda, who was attempting to apologize to Rain in order to make peace, but the young woman wasn't having it. She urged Amanda to pay attention to her as she trailed her. "Answer me, you poor woman. Were you sent by them? Do you wish to wash someone's automobile? This is a 75 million naira Benz, and your whole family combined would be unable to purchase it. Rather than checking for traffic before crossing the street, you are prancing about, searching for someone to hit you so that you can file a claim against them. As Amanda offered her nothing further, the young lady screamed in fury. Amanda was caught off guard by the crowd that started to form. She was glad that nobody recognized her, as she left the scene, and went directly to her workplace. All of her employees in the lobby of her firm's headquarters, who were wearing elegant suits and shining heels, froze as she strolled toward the private lift that would take her to her office. Nuna, her assistant, a tall, elegant woman in her early 30s, was waiting by the private elevator with a tablet under her arm. Nuna possessed a subdued sophistication that garnered respect, but did not seek notice. The University of Lagos conferred a first-class degree. She had climbed the ranks from a junior analyst role to become the personal assistant to the most influential woman in the nation. Not due to connections, but rather due to her integrity, precision, and steadfast dedication to Madame Amanda. She spoke seldom, but when she did, people listened, much to the bewilderment of the employees, who found it strange. She was described as Amanda's shadow, constantly accompanying her, observing her, and listening to her. The majority of individuals were unaware that Nuna had experienced the loss of her parents in a building collapse 10 years prior. The negligence of a construction company, which Awi's company eventually shut down, was found to be the cause of the tragedy. Madame Amanda also never forgot, nor did Nuna. Since then, their relationship had evolved into one that was more than simply professional. It was based on trust, shaped by loss, and connected by an unspoken awareness of suffering. He had discovered a goal in her, not just a supervisor. Nuna positioned herself in her usual spot, her eyes glued to her tablet, but her thoughts always 3 steps ahead, as they entered the lift going to her office. Minutes later, they arrived at the office, and Amanda stood by the glass wall in her office while Nuna held her tablet motionless in the corner. As she stood there for a moment, savoring the view and uttering a brief prayer before going to her chair, the city's vista seemed to go on forever. For her, this was a daily routine. She took a moment of silence to gather her thoughts and thank God for the grace that had transformed her life. Willie started each day with thankfulness, regardless of the chaos outside, the rumors surrounding her, or the vitriol they spewed in the streets. Nuna, still clutching her tablet, cleared her throat gently and told her that Chief Obey was there. The Chief Obeys was the managing director of Presco Construction, a firm that had competed for a contract with her business for several years. Amanda had always been careful about awarding his firm the contract. Although she appreciated his commercial prowess, she was hesitant to award him the contract because of rumors about his lax morals. Nevertheless, she had consented to meet him today, perhaps out of courtesy and curiosity. Let him in, she told her assistant, Nuna, who went out to do so. A few moments later, she smiled as she froze upon seeing her into the office. She had just insulted Amanda a few moments earlier down the street, and it was the same woman. Chief Obey had an emergency to attend to a few minutes ago, and she was his only child. He then asked his daughter to stand in for him at the meeting, which he had pledged to attend in a few minutes. On her way to see her father's business, Precious, his daughter, nearly bumped into Amanda by the side of the road. She was unaware that the woman she had so offended was the one her father had been yearning to see. Precious had learned a lot about Amanda. She was aware of how much her father admired her, and even prayed for her to receive the position for which they had applied. Now she was standing in front of Amanda, her self-assurance wavering as she begged for pardon. Amanda remained motionless behind her desk, her face impossible to read. For several long seconds, she said nothing, allowing Precious's unease to seep into the air like smoke. With a quivering voice, Precious stepped forward unsteadily. "I apologize, Madam Amanda. I had no idea it was you. I apologize for my previous remarks. I didn't give it any thought." Amanda got up from her seat slowly and approached her. "Vous n'avez pas besoin de savoir que c'est moi," dit-elle doucement, son visage serein alors tu le regardais directement dans les yeux de Precarious. All you had to do was show respect to another person.